Relationship, Sex and Health Education, Parent and Carer Information, Part 3. Welcome back, and apologies that this has turned into a trilogy. Thank you to our dedicated fans who have made it to Part 3. We promise that this is the last part. Year 6, Relationship, Sex and Health Education. At Herne, we have historically taught an age-appropriate relationship, sex and health education programme to our Year 6 children. In doing so, we have met the current recommendation by the DfE that all primary schools should have a sex education programme tailored to the age and the physical and emotional maturity of the pupils. We will continue to teach our relationship, sex and health education programme with some more updated and current resources accredited by the PSHE Association. Year 6 Relationship, Sex and Health Curriculum. The children will be taught the statutory objectives outlined by the Department for Education within the Relationships and Health Education curriculum, as well as content from the PSHE Association's Programme of Study, signposted by the DfE. In this unit, pupils will learn how to manage change, how to manage the physical and emotional changes that happen during puberty, such as periods, wet dreams and masturbation, how to take responsibility for personal hygiene during adolescence, about the role of trust, respect and boundaries in healthy relationships, including friendships and family, about seeking and giving or not giving permission in different situations, about adult relationships and the human life cycle, about human reproduction, how a baby is made and how it grows, that some people have help to make a baby. People use different methods to do this. How a baby is born. The bullet point in bold is the one part of the Year 6 Relationship, Sex and Health Education curriculum that parents have the right to withdraw their child from. Sorry, I should have said the bullet points, as there are two. The rest of the unit's content is part of the statutory curriculum as laid out by the DfE. During our Q&A sessions in class, sometimes children may ask questions about topics not covered, such as contraception. If we feel it is age appropriate and safe to discuss, then we will address these areas in a sensitive way. Sarah Sproul, Leading Educator in RSE and Health Education. One of the frequently asked questions taken from the DfE guidance was this question: will my child be taught sex education at primary school? This is too young. Sarah Sproul, a leading expert in relationships and sex education, has made some really useful videos to assist parents and carers with having sensitive and gentle conversations around the subject. And she says, many adults think that conversations around sex need to be about making babies, creating new humans. But the vast majority of sex that happens in the world, and the vast majority of sex that humans have, is not to do with making new humans. The sex that people have can be to do with companionship, love, closeness, pleasure, or affection. There are a vast majority of reasons why humans have sex. There are also people who choose not to have sexual relationships but experience pleasure through touching their own body. There are so many fabulous, important questions that need to be had with children. Because when we only talk about sex through the context of making babies, we're leaving out a whole section of important knowledge that children can gather over time that is going to help create healthy, positive, strong, wonderful relationships as they grow up. Because knowing that sex is something we can have with someone else because it feels good is one of the important building blocks about learning about consent. Imagine if our child didn't know that sex was meant to feel good. What are all the negative implications that could happen as a result of that? Why all conversations about sperms and eggs get together to make babies are important. There are a vast array of other important conversations that need to take place. You can access this PowerPoint from our school website. You will need to do so in order to use the link shown on this slide. Once you've downloaded the PowerPoint from the website, you can click on the link to access the videos created by Sarah Sproul. These videos may assist parents and carers who choose to have these important conversations with their children. And as shown on the previous slide, our curriculum has a large focus on children's changing bodies, healthy, positive relationships, trust, respect, and boundaries before we even begin to talk about sexual intercourse. Year 6 Puberty and Reproduction Unit Overview. Here you can see images of the sites where we have accessed our resources. As mentioned, the majority are accredited by the PSHE Association. Feel free to pause the video if you want to take a closer look at this slide. Examples of resources, Year 6 Puberty and Reproduction. Here are some of the resources we use when teaching puberty. The use of myth and fact cards shown here not only help to distance the learning, as mentioned earlier, but they also help to clear up any misconceptions that children may have. Here are some more examples of resources. Labelling the correct terminology is again used within this unit. Whilst we highlight that children and adults sometimes use lots of different words for genitals, in these lessons we will teach the scientifically correct words for the human body. We will discuss with the children that some slang words can be confusing and sometimes even rude and disrespectful. Here are some more resources used when teaching about the menstrual cycle. We also use interactive whiteboard clips as screenshotted here. These are taken from a resource called Yasmin and Tom. Here are some more resources used when teaching about the menstrual cycle. Here are resources taken from City to Sea, which are resources accredited by the PSHE Association. Again, feel free to pause at any point if you want to take a further look at these resources. Here are some more resources used when teaching about changes and wet dreams. And there are some screenshots of interactive whiteboard clips that we use. So I will now show you the interactive whiteboard clip we use for teaching about human reproduction in order to make a baby, and this is taken from a PSHE Association accredited resource. Just bear with me.
Click next to recap on the female and male sexual parts, and then learn about sexual intercourse. This is what the female sexual parts look like on the inside. This is what the male sexual parts look like. When a man and woman want to have a baby, they have sexual intercourse, or sex. This is where a man's penis gets hard and enters the woman's vagina. They have sex, and the man has an orgasm, which means that he ejaculates sperm into the woman's vagina. The woman can have an orgasm during sex too, but she does not need to have one to get pregnant. Men can have sex with women or men, and women can have sex with women or men. But if you want to have a baby by sexual intercourse, you need a man and a woman. You must be 16 to have sex legally, and both people must want to do it. When the sperm are released into the vagina, around 15% of them manage to swim to find the egg. 15% is about 20 million sperm. If it is the right time in a woman's cycle, the egg will be in the fallopian tube. The sperm gives out enzymes to break down the outside of the egg to get in. Once the sperm is inside, the egg sends out a signal, which means the other sperm will be pushed away. The fertilized egg then travels along the fallopian tube to the womb and splits down into lots of different cells. It then embeds itself in the lining of the uterus and pregnancy begins. If all is well, the baby will now develop. When a man and woman have sex, they can make a baby if the sperm fertilizes the egg.
Here is an inclusive book we use when teaching about making a baby and sexual intercourse. It is a beautiful, inclusive book which discusses the many ways that parents and carers may go about making a baby or having a child, such as through sexual intercourse, surrogacy, IVF, and adoption. Here are some pages screenshotted from the book. Please feel free to pause if you'd like to read the pages from this book. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation and spending the time to do so. If you have any questions or concerns or would like to offer any feedback at all on our RSE and health education programme, please do get in touch with the senior leadership team or the PSHE leader, Olivia Hepworth, myself, via their email or through the school's office via their admin email or telephone number. If you'd like to discuss the right to withdraw your child from the sex education element of our relationships and sex education programme of study in Year 6, please contact Mrs Hepworth and Mrs Sayers. So my email is here for you to access, and then you've got the admin email and Mrs Sayers' email, all of which can be found on the school website also. Thank you again for all your time.